Hope, hopefully far from the last uh, stream where I play on my modded survival world. And yeah, aside from that, I'm just gonna start up the music, and whenever it decides to load, of course, I'm gonna hop in the game. And okay, I did do some things between streams. Mainly, I added in a few new mods like EnderIo and Project EX, which is an expansion to Project E. And aside from that, did do some things on the world that I'm going to show you right now. Uh, Game? Okay. All normal. Bit laggy, but I'm expecting that. Gonna go to bed. And yeah, I also did do some tinkering with the volume, so hopefully you guys can hear me clearly. But aside from that, I did actually plant 2 mystical crop seeds, which are Certus quartz, which I can use to actually craft parts for the ME system, which is a very, very good storage. But aside from that, I also started making these energy collectors and energy condensers. The basics is that this makes EMC and it drains into here, which makes into those, which turns into iron. So it's basically an EMC farm. But I do actually have some goals for today's episode, or session, or whatever you want to call it. Mainly to set up the forge for Tinker's Construct, maybe even get a pickaxe, which would be very, very useful, along with maybe a better EMC farm, but that's hopeful thinking and most likely for next week. And yeah, aside from that, first thing I need is grout, which I currently do not have. It requires clay, gravel, and sand, so it's fairly simple. And it'll give me seared bricks, which will be one of the key components for the forge. Setting up this. For seared tank, seared controller, casting basin, and seared faucet. And oh yeah, almost forgot another important thing, which is the casting table. Now all of these are important for the forge, so I'm going to grab a ton of the seared bricks. And grab 1 additional faucet so I can actually start making the forge. Yeah, I normally wait a bit before I start doing doing things like Tinker's Construct, but the first thing on my list is no weapon, it's a pickaxe. A very, very good pickaxe, even though it's composed of paper. The casting table, Smeltery controller, seared tank, and seared bricks. Now once I have welcome Patrick, thank you for the follow. And if I check, yep, as I expected, the forge is now working. Although I can't use it right now because of the lack of lava, which is why I grabbed the Philosopher's Stone, because all I need is just a bit of obsidian. And I should grab a bucket. That is quite useful. No, not an iron sword, a bucket. Where I can actually use the Philosopher's Stone, which allows me to transmute certain things. Although I didn't really show it last session because I was just rushing to get the transmutation table. I could transmute some obsidian into some fresh lava, which is the fuel for this. Aside from that, should be all good. But unlike other sessions, I actually written out a full list of what I want to get done by the end of this. But I'm going to try to avoid making this into a boring session where all I do is go down a bucket list. And this will be my temporary way to make weapons, because there's a lot more weapons that I can do. I just can't right now because that requires iron to make the tool forge. But aside from that, oh, sorry to hear I'm not very bilingual myself. And then, with the part builder, I can first do that, and for the rest, I'm going to make them out of paper. Now, again, you may be wondering, why paper? I mean, paper sounds like a useless material. It is, except it has a stat called writable, which, if something is writable, that means you can add a modifier to it. And if a tool is completely made of paper, it's writable too, which allows a flat 5 modifiers to be made. And 5 modifiers can include durable or reinforced. And when something is completely reinforced, then it's unbreakable. It takes 0 durability whatsoever. And the benefit is, the more you mine with it, the more adept you become at it, and you get more modifiers from it. From a mod, I believe, called Tinker Tool Leveling. So, I'm going to grab some chests. But once this is all made, I can actually throw it all down for an important part of it, which requires a ton of obsidian, which, as you can tell, I do not have, because I only have 12. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. I could make it out of better materials, but although I will keep some of the obsidian on hand, and there's a reason for that, which is the reason why I have the sharpening kit, which I'm planning, which is I'm going to sharpen the pickaxe with obsidian to give it the cobalt, which allows me to get a really good alloy mandolin. Okay. So, gonna slap all of the reinforcements on it. And now I have an unbreakable pickaxe. Although I have no more modifiers on it. So, all good, all good. Now I put 2 gold in here so I can make a full cast for the sharpening kit. When the obsidian is ready, then I can put the sharpening kit in there, and then I can sharpen my pickaxe. so it can cut through tough materials. Actually, I forgot the fact that, well, there it is. Now it's level cobalt, instead of just being what it was originally, which was level stone. Which basically, which for those who don't use Tinker's Construct, that means have gone from not being able to mine any ore whatsoever, actually being the level of a wooden pickaxe, to being a level that not even diamond pickaxes can achieve. Because I focus on making the pickaxe unbreakable rather than fast, this is how it's going to start off. The vein miner does make it more bearable, because I don't have to do this for every piece of ardite ore in the vein. If it is a vein, I really hope it's a vein. Good. Now that I got that, then I throw the ardite along with 2 pieces of wood and our ardite ingots, which, yeah, they get a lot. A certain thing overpowered. So, gonna break my bed and get platform ready. The vein miner works on stone. So if I vein mine this, now I have 2 modifiers, 3 modifiers, and a ton of cobblestone. Because EnderIo is the main technology mod. Extra Utilities has a lot of technology things, obviously, but it's EnderIo that is the key. Oh yeah. This. And I'm just going to take a bucket and slap that there. Because I think having another source of EMC would be useful. So I'm going to make a cobblestone generator. Well, one that utilizes extra utilities. Now, gonna turn all of these ender shards into resonating redstone. Oh wait, I need 2 for this, and now I have a manual mill. That's step 1. Now I need a resonator. And I make a resonator. Now I can, if I had the EMC for it, which I don't. Actually, do I? Yes, I do. Good. So I can actually make the I can make the pickaxe right now. Which is one of the materials. The other one is a weighted pressure plate, which I have to throw in the resonator. So I'm safe. I'm gonna do it at home. Or at my temporary home. Resonator, mill. Gonna throw that in there, and it needs power. Uh, I don't know what's happening with the mill, but got an upgrade base, and now I got an upgrade mining. Now I need a transfer type and transfer node. Oh, I can make this. Throw these in there, and now gonna set a chest here, here, and then the upgrade mining. Okay. Oh, it's already working. So, now I have infinite cobblestone, or at least a regenerating supply. So, just for convenience, I'm actually going to work on getting a mill down so I don't have to constantly be doing the same exact thing over and over and over. So, I'm going to get a water mill. Now, with a water mill, all I got to do for power is it gets its power from adjacent water. So now it's generating power, so I don't have to use a mill. For now. Only the cobble generator, but it also gets the... Actually, so now that I'm on obsidian, I can make I can get a very tedious but useful part that is the core for EnderIo, which is the grains of infinity. Which is one of the things that I'm already planning on making a seed for. So, okay, so it's tier 2, which means I have to make a whole new seed since I'm currently at tier 3. Shut up, narrator. So, set this up as bedrock. So now I can... Yeah, when I light a piece of bedrock on fire, there's a chance that there's around a 50% chance that I get a grain of infinity. So I think you can understand my desire to turn it into a seed, especially because of how much I will need for the materials. It's significantly that it is more useful than even Certus quartz, because Certus quartz is useful for just the ME system, which is really good. This is basically the backbone of EnderIo. And all it requires is 5 grains of infinity to make 8. Which is really good. And stuff grains of infinity is used for is a lot. The Tome of Knowledge is my current end goal that I hope to get within the month. Within the month. Almost forgot that it's March. It requires 50 million EMC. But I'm working, so I'm going to actually AFK. Gonna put Apple. Then I'm gonna split off. One is going to be a blacklist, and the other is going to be a whitelist. So this is the blacklisted, and this will be the whitelisted. And now I can throw that there. And now, when because the stuff aside from occasionally using it for crafting, it just goes thrown into the EMC. So having it be done already for me is nice. That's making this, which makes makes gardening a lot easier. Because I have to fill it up with water, and then it'll accelerate the growth. See? Okay. Okay. So now I have some very useful stuff down, which is going to be the start of EnderIo. So I'm gonna mark it out on my list. Soul vials, which they're useful later on. By that I mean in likely a month or two. And think two would be nice for that. It's not just used for the soul vials, but it's also used for the farming stations, a soul binder, which is what I'm going to be using the soul vials for, because the basis of the soul vials that I can take an enemy and it effectively becomes a spawn egg for the enemy. Then I can use a soul binder to attach them to a spawner, which I can break, and it gives me a broken spawner, which I can then use to make a powered spawner. It's also used for the slice and splice. There's... I have to use it to make soul powder, which is useful for a lot of things, but aside from that, as I can take charcoal, put that in here, throw that in there, grab that, throw that, and now I can slap a transfer node here, and now, so, hope you guys enjoyed this session, and I'll be back with you again Saturday, and if you're interested in if you're interested in more modded content, I will edit this down to around 30 minutes or so tomorrow and post it on my YouTube channel. You can find the link in my profile. And then, and with Saturday, I will be on the Kiwi SMP, which is what I was supposed to do last week, but the server is down at the moment, and it should be a-okay by the time that I'm back on Saturday. And aside from that, if you are more interested in the mods, I will be doing a stream like this again next Wednesday at around the same time. But aside from that, I will be doing more things off camera after the fact, like setting up for my base and doing some other tedious stuff like AFK. Um, so aside from that, if you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hit me with a follow. And if you are not from Twitch, but and say you're watching this from YouTube, feel free to hit it with a like, a comment if you have an idea. I'm open to anything. And if anyone were to ever comment, I would read it and respond. Most likely. And hit a subscribe. And yeah, aside from that, hope to see you guys again. Again, if you're from YouTube, you can catch these live on Twitch, twitch.tv/IntoTheND. So, adios. Well, have a good day, good night, good evening, whatever you want to call it. This is Into the Indie, signing out.